Robinhood Radio presents award-winning author John Neufeld with Side Effects.
We've all suffered through 6 hours of blather in the name of seeking a giant killer. The effort was suicidal. Tuesday's bash gave us hysterical shouting by Bernie and Elizabeth, a little cooler approach by Mayor Pete, an introduction to a Montana governor who may have been a good legislator but is not a candidate on fire. Plus, as Marianne Williamson said, yada, yada, yada. She was right. Wednesday brought us a shrunken Joe Biden, an egotistical Cory Booker, a slightly muddled Kamala Harris, and a madwoman named Tulsi, who kept referring over and over again to her, quote, brothers and sisters in uniform, end of quote. Andrew Yang was attendant as a magnetic pole with his devoutly wished guaranteed income. For 6 hours or so, America struggled to make sense of Medicare for all. It was incomprehensible. Democrats had come to believe that the voters in the country, all over the country apparently, wanted only one thing: health care solutions. They were wrong. Again. On the subjective basis of casual television viewing, we didn't find one man or woman we really wanted to follow or vote for. Our hopes pinballed a lot, but never found the right slot. Worse, as commentators have been quick to point out, what the Democrats did this week was justify the contempt of the Republicans, rightly. After 2.5 years of planning, diagnosing, and cheerleading, the Democrats demonstrated once again how to lose an election. That, of course, may not come to pass, but today it certainly looks like a sure thing. The Democrats are focusing almost entirely on Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and North Carolina, flyover country. Voters on both coasts and in Florida and Texas are being left to fend for themselves. They too may be interested in health care costs, insurance premiums, sudden late hospital bills. Nearly incomprehensible gov-speak. What happened to the battle for American values, immigration, voting rights, manufacturing, infrastructure, regime change? What happened to dear leader who continues to ignore the laws of which he has sworn allegiance? What happened to the swamp? What happened to the dictatorial admiration for strongmen who are not in peril of losing their power? What happened to discarded American intelligence, to increasing tariffs, to trade generally, to bullying men and women of color, of Latin descent, of citizens of S-hole countries, to unwavering wars we cannot seem to end? Dear leader is a man of no brain power, little morality, huge ambition, and greed. Nowhere in his portfolio is there room for helping children, improving education, saving thousands from poverty, while pushing boatloads of cash at those who don't need it. A man who values little international cooperation, evidently happy to be isolated in the world and without friends, who loves playing chicken, convinced as he is that his is the biggest armed force in the world and unlikely to be challenged by any other. A man who ignores laws by which others are ruled. A man whose career in government service leads directly to impeachment by reason of the emolument clause and 9 other well-documented high crimes and misdemeanors. A man who hires only beautiful people he spots while killing time watching himself on television. a man shrewd enough to see that his opposition is fragmented and who delights in nothing more than separating further its pods and parcels. But enough of this catalog of horrors. There has never been in our entire history a leader who so richly ignored the Constitution and who more definitively deserves to be excised from the pages of history of what was once a glorious nation. It's one thing for dear leader to be impervious to the world and its criticisms. It's something else again for him to be so brain-besotted that the crowds in London who gathered to demonstrate their disapproval of American puffery were received by his psychological personality to reverse and magically change into crowds of adorers. The man is substandard, subhuman. He is his own S-hole country. But if the Democrats can't get their proverbial act together, he's ours for another 4 years. That would be a catastrophe, not only for us, but for all the few friends we have left. I'm John Neufeld.
All opinions on side effects are those of John Neufeld and do not represent necessarily the opinions of Robin Hood Radio, robinhoodradio.com, CATV6, or any of the employees, volunteers, or underwriters of Tri-State Public Communications.